And that's where the second wife comes in handy.
Do you think we are polygamous in nature?
One thing I would say is, I think with men, I do think that if they were given two wives, you would never see them cheat. I would say that
if they're given two wives, they will not cheat?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think two wives are two headaches, and that's more than enough. It's also two mother-in-laws. And then once you realize, like, being responsible for two women, how difficult it is, it takes up all your energy. But when you have one wife, and then she starts to neglect you, they start to go here, there, everywhere, and they go all over the place. Whereas I do think if they just had two wives to begin with, they would probably not cheat outside of those wives. I don't think they would, from what I see. I'm not justifying.
But then, do you think then men are polygamous by nature, that they can't be satisfied with one woman?
It's not that they can't be satisfied with one woman. It's just that as a man ages, his sex drive doesn't drop. Women's does. If she maintains it, he can be totally monogamous. Totally. It's just that she doesn't always maintain it. And that's just not how we're designed. So it's not that they're polygamous, it's just that their sex drive is continuous. Whereas for women, their sex drive, particularly when they're super happy with their husband, it actually decreases. A kiss is sufficient for them. They're so happy they could go 10 years without doing the deed because they're like, I'm happy in my marriage. Why do I need to sleep with him? I did that 5 years ago. I don't need to do that anymore. So I think if they got the intimacy forever from that person, they would be fine with it. They only seek novelty when, they have an issue. But generally, as long as they're getting the intimacy, they can easily be monogamous. It's when the intimacy drops where they become polygamous.
The woman.
The man, sorry. The man becomes polygamous. When the intimacy is gone with his wife, then he becomes polygamous.
So, okay, let's play another hypothetical or case study. Let's say both of them are in their prime years.
Yes.
Sex drive is healthy, male, female, married.
Yes.
Can we say the male and female are by nature polygamous or monogamous? Nature.
I would honestly say nature is more monogamous than we think.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is so many women come to me and say, I knew my husband was having an affair because he stopped having sex with me. Now, if a man is polygamous, when he's having an affair, his sex drive with his wife should be identical. Why has it stopped? If you're so polygamous, sleep with your wife in the morning and your mistress at night. Why does it stop with one of them? They're designed more monogamous than they realize. Because if they weren't monogamous, no woman would ever get suspicious. But he goes cold when he's having an affair. Very rarely does he maintain the same level of intimacy. This suggests to me they're actually monogamous. They're just simply more monogamous to the person they have sex with, not particularly their wife, girlfriend. It's whoever gives them the intimacy. I know men monogamous to an escort that they met, monogamous to her because she gives him intimacy, yet cheating on their wife because she doesn't. So they're monogamous, but they're monogamous to intimacy, not monogamous to a label of relationships or marriage. Would you agree or disagree as a man?
I heard an interesting theory. It was like a 6-minute snippet on YouTube by a think tank, and there were different professors talking about polygamous and monogamous creatures and animals and human beings. And he said something. One of them said something interesting that I thought was pretty cool. He said, all human beings are polygamous. It's a decision to be monogamous. And he said something like, in words, that it's like if me and you are hungry, we can eat anything. You bring junk food, burger, healthy, we can eat. But does it mean with our brain and our psyche and our awareness we should eat everything? Or you're like, no, I try to eat clean. Therefore, by nature, I can eat anything, but I choose to live a healthier, better life. And he kind of
Could it be that we're actually by nature monogamous and choose to be polygamous?
That's interesting. That's why I'm asking you this.
Yeah, for me, I just genuinely think the fact that people in the beginning stages of relationships are naturally monogamous. There's very few people who are like, when they first meet someone, they're crazy about them, cheat constantly from day one. There's something missing in the intimacy that creates the infidelity later on. Or there's something missing in the connection. There's something missing in the masculinity or femininity that creates the polygamy. I genuinely believe that when you are fulfilled, monogamy is a natural byproduct of a fulfilling relationship. It's not difficult. It's actually not difficult. But when you're unfulfilled, or you've settled in your partner, or you haven't selected wisely, polygamy is calling at you. It's like pulling you. So I would say that we're actually by design more monogamous. And I say this because as a therapist, I constantly see men come to me saying, I can't touch my wife, I miss my mistress too much. I can't touch this person, I keep missing her, I keep thinking about this girl. Men are saying this. So if you're so polygamous, why would you even be hung up on a girl that you used to date? Why don't you forget her in 5 minutes and sleep with somebody else if it's so easy? So I think there is more monogamy in them than we think.
But then why, it was interesting where you said in the honeymoon era, let's say in the first year, it's very natural to be monogamous. Then why it seems to be so difficult or so impossible, I don't want to use the word impossible, but difficult that to sustain that natural monogamy by year 3 and year 4 or year 10?
Our motivation to please our partner decreases over time. In the beginning stages, we don't see it as a burden looking after ourselves for our partner's sake and looking after our partner for our partner's sake. There's a natural selflessness that comes. Over time, we forget to do that, and we become more, we take the easy route. This is human nature, by the way. It's not a bad thing. But if we maintain the desire to care for our partner and be mindful of their needs and wants, I think it would be easy to maintain that. I think it's the meeting of needs rather than just a desire for somebody else. The person who meets your needs becomes the person you start to desire. When a woman never cooks or cleans for her husband, ever, I'll notice a guy say, oh, this girl in my office, she made me a coffee, I think I'm in love with her. And I'm like, who is she? Because I don't really know her. And they literally start fantasizing about her because she met a need. And similarly, a woman will say, my husband never kisses me, never tells me I'm beautiful. This guy at the gym, he always tells me I'm so sexy, I think I like him. Somebody's meeting a need. If we just make sure our partner is the person doing it, monogamy becomes very easy. Do you find monogamy easy?
I I find it as a decision. And I think it can, because my wound, when I read the book about wounds.
Which book was it?
If you want, I'll send you a copy. It's
Please.
French, and I got the English translation, and it's super. It's as good as the 5 love languages, which I think should be in every school. I think the 5 wounds should be in every school.
Ah, okay.
So I'll try to quickly summarize it. So wound 1. So the idea is the 5 wounds that you're exposed to during childhood, and then your ego designs a mask to cover the wound, but doesn't mean it's healed. It's just covered with a plaster, right? So it's a mask. So the first one was injustice. No, not injustice. Rejection.
Rejection, okay.
The mask for rejection, one is from either parent. So the first rejection, one of them is rejection, like you're not coming out with us.
Yes.
You're not allowed. And you took it as a rejection wound. The mask is for withdrawal. Withdrawer. So you're a person that you'll see never raises the hand in school. They're not proactive because they don't want to get any rejection anywhere. So they don't even be forthcoming. That's number 1. Number 2 is abandonment, which is huge with a lot of people. And abandonment is dad was too busy, mom left me too much, I was with the nanny, So the ego creates the dependency mask. And that's very codependent people. So when they're in a relationship, they latch on to you with the intuition or intention that if I latch on to them, they won't leave. And that's the same reason they would leave.
Yes,
because you suffocated them.
Yeah.
So you're there with the right intention, like, no!
Yeah, it actually creates the fear that they've been trying to avoid.
Third is humiliation.
Ah, okay.
You look disgusting, you're a fat pig, You feel humiliated as a child, and you become a masochist. You bring pain to yourself, it can go extreme, or you're a pleaser, you don't take care of your body, you gain weight. Everybody before me. 6 people invite you to their birthday, you go to the 6th. Okay. You're never a priority. 4 is yours truly, is betrayal, and you felt betrayed by a parent. And if you felt betrayed as a child, I don't even remember when, but obviously when I saw the symptoms, I'm like, me. You become a controller.
Okay.
So you want to do anything not to be betrayed.
Right.
And I noticed at work, I'm like, contracts, make sure it's clear. I don't like ambiguous people. I don't like mysterious people, even in love.
Yeah.
If you're mysterious, it bothers me.
Yeah.
Because it's not clear. And I'm like, what are they up to?
You need transparency.
I love transparency and love communication. The last one is rejection.
That was the first one, no?
Yeah, I thought it was. It was, sorry, injustice.
Injustice, sorry.
Injustice is maybe your siblings were treated better
Yeah.
than you and all of that, and you become rigid.
Okay.
So I only work this way. I only do things this way.
Yeah.
My house is this way. No flexibility. So
I think I have that. I'm very rigid in the way that I think.
I have that as my second one.
I have that.
My second one is
I'm very rigid. People always
first
say, you're
abandon-
black and white, you're black and white. And I'm like, yeah.
Do you have abandonment?
I feel so because I was very left out. So it must
And
have
were
been.
you very codependent in your first relationships?
It's more controlling than codependent. I can live my separate life, but I want to know what you're doing the whole way, all the time. So I'm very
It's a betrayal.
Yeah, betrayal. Yeah. So I must have, but I definitely have that rigidness to me. It's very much
It's
like
never one.
Yeah.
I have betrayal and injustice to me.
And then I guess the rejection must have been there. If I'm left out, I guess there must have been someone.
It
Maybe
depends.
all of
Sometimes,
them.
no, but sometimes the rejection can manifest as abandonment. And some people, so we just have to read it and you're like, shit.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's a good book to read.
Great
'cause-
book. Who's it by? Do you know?
No, I
Okay,
forgot.
I'll look into it.
I'll give you a copy.
Yeah. Perfect.
So why was I saying, I think you asked me about,
Men?
do I find
Was it about
monogamy?
Yes. Do you find monogamy easy?
I find, yeah, because I really like, I don't know how did I reach it, but it was more around, I try
Make
to
a
be
decision.
very honest and very dedicated. So if I give you my word, you don't need anything.
Yeah.
But for me to reach a level where I'm like, Sadia, I'm your friend for life. I'm there.
Yeah.
You don't need a contract, you don't need an email, you just call Anas, we're in trouble, I'm there.
Because one thing I don't understand that people that cheat is why are you with people that you would want to cheat on? Why don't you just leave the for me, I've got
I
so
would
much
leave.
pride. I've
Yeah.
got so much pride that if I don't like you enough to the point where I'm cheating, why are you in my life? Like if I have
Yes.
to, I was just like, why would I be with you if I want to cheat on you? I had like the fact that I'm cheating on you means I don't like you enough. I don't need you enough to keep you around in the background. I'll just let go. So I've never understood that part of the cheating cycle. But I know everybody's different and everybody is, everybody's designed differently. But it's very, very common in women as well. I know men, we talk a lot about male cheating. You'd be so surprised how common it is in women.
It's very scary when I hear stories about
It is
and coming
endless.
from a guy who's afraid of betrayal.
It's endless in women. It's super, super endless. Of course, it's certain type of women, but there's some more than others. But it's very, very common in women as well, particularly in this day and age. Yeah, and that's actually an evolved trait as well. What they found, in hunter-gatherer times, they say men, were polygamous. But what they don't mention is women, if they didn't have a man, they would die. So they needed men all the time. So when their man would die, that day they would move on to another guy, even if it was his brother. So we are designed to move on very quickly, which is why they can go from marriage to marriage or man to man a lot quicker. When they think one is dying, they'll go to another one. So it's just as common in women. It's just that they're not polygamous. It's more like, I'll leave you for this one.
Yeah. I pride myself in my honesty, and I promised myself I would never be in a relationship where if I feel I need attention outside, I will flag it.
Yeah.
That's first a flag that something is off, so we need to fix it. But if it's there, no cheating.
Yeah.
I'd rather leave.
Yeah.
And I would want my partner to do the same. If she feels unfulfilled, don't cheat. Just say, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
I think you're boring.
Yeah.
You can leave.
I know, and I'm quite a fearless person. So the idea of being so scared of somebody that I can't leave him and I have to go cheat, I'm like, well, I'm not scared of you, I'll tell you, bye. Like, I'm not scared enough of somebody that I have to live a separate life around them. The only person I've ever been afraid of is my father. Outside of my father, everybody else, I'm like, I'm not scared of anybody. And it actually gets me in a lot of trouble. So the idea of sneaking around behind somebody's back or like lying to somebody is like, why am I lying to you? I'm not scared of you, bye. Like my fearlessness makes me less likely to lie, cheat, steal, all these things because I don't need to. Yeah, I'm not worried about your approval or disapproval. So I just don't have that in me. But to each their own. I do recognize everybody's circumstances are different.
There's a saying, once a cheater, always a cheater. True or false?
Very true.
Really?
Absolutely true.
Wow.
And the reason being...
I didn't think you'd say true, but okay.
Did you not?
No, because
absolutely true.
I'll tell you my logic later, but first tell me why.
Absolutely true, because the moment you are a cheater, your selection pool of people changes. So what I mean by that is most cheaters, let's say for example, I cheat on my husband, I meet you, and I start cheating with you. I've now selected a person who's aware of my capability of cheating. So now I've selected somebody dumb enough to fall for it. Perfect, now I'm going to do the same to you. Because your selection changes the moment you become a cheat. And one of the reasons I always tell women, try not to cheat. The reason being is you'll end up with the weakest type of men when you become a cheating woman. He will know that you've got that ability. He's seen you do it to another man. He's seen signs of you doing it here, and he'll still be with you. A strong man would say, you cheated on him, you're going to cheat on me, bye. He wouldn't touch you. He wouldn't go near you. Only a weaker type of man will accept you as a cheating woman. So you're left with a pool of men that you won't truly respect. And you're left with a pool of men you can trick. You don't like those men. So try and avoid that. So the moment you become a cheater, man or woman, you come with a sign that this is my history. It's a bit like a criminal. If I have a criminal history, what will happen is I'll go to apply for jobs. Certain jobs, particularly high-level jobs, they won't even open my resume. But there'll be some low-level jobs that will. The moment low-level jobs start hiring me, I'm going to like, fuck this place. And I'm going to start looking elsewhere. Cheating is exactly the same.
I'll tell you my logic. And one of my ideas is I'll tell you where I think there is truth and there is an exception. Always a cheater, once a cheater, always a cheater. Once a druggie, always a druggie. Once this, always this. Once a quitter, always a quitter. I think there is a lot of truth to it, but I don't think it's...
as linear.
It's not
but this
as
is where
simple.
my rigid...
So I think, in my opinion, you bring me somebody who, on his CV, he never stayed more than 6 months in any job. 90%, if not a bit more, he will leave before 6 months here. I know this because it's a pattern. Same with a person who keeps getting addicted to drugs. Can I say, is it fair for me to say, oh, he'll never recover? No. And I had a guest here. He was an addict of all sorts of drugs, goes into rehab 5 times. 5th time, Sadia recovers, sober till today, world jiu-jitsu champion twice, married, children. Wow, what a story. But 5th time.
Yeah.
So I feel it's very unfair of me to tell anybody, you cheated once, you're done.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need to be with you.
Yeah.
But I will never have the right to tell you that you would never know how to be monogamous. Or, say, no, my new ethic, I would never do it. I would leave before cheating.
Yeah.
Maybe he does, but I think 10% chance.
Yeah, there is a chance. There's always a chance, and there's always exceptions to the rules. But here's what I would say. When you are dealing with somebody who has a potential to cheat, instead of thinking you're so unique, you're so different, just think they have the potential to cheat. So I'll just make sure that whatever caused them to cheat in their previous relationships, we try and battle that. We try and be aware of that. But this delusional belief, but with me he would never, with me she would never, you're delusional. You just got to realize what triggers that person to cheat and make sure that your relationship doesn't have those triggers. If it's because when the kids came, he felt neglected and he started cheating, you make sure when the kids come, you create quality time and intimacy. If you realize she cheated because she found somebody who gives her more a lifestyle and gives her more money and she wanted someone richer, you better make sure that you're earning more than most people she knows. Or you're giving her a lifestyle that she knows. You've got to know your partner's triggers for cheating and try and create a buffer in your relationship. But delusionally accepting that your love and connection is going to be enough to prevent them from going back to their old habits, you're in for a rude awakening, sadly.
I think that's a more realistic approach. I think you can't judge somebody who decides not to be with an ex-drug addict or cheater or. You have the right to say, it's more challenging, I don't want it. But like I said, if you decide, I'm aware and I'm willing to work with you,
if you're, especially as a woman, and you're going to say, oh my God, I'm never going to be with a guy that's ever cheated, you're going to struggle. Yeah, it's going to limit your pool. It's going to, but you've got to completely understand why they cheated. And if they say, oh, it's because I didn't love her, but I love you, you have to ask them, what makes you love me? What is it about our connection that makes you faithful, and how do I maintain it? Because this blanket, I love you and I didn't love her, it's not true. It's a behavior. It was a need in that relationship that wasn't being met, and make sure that doesn't repeat itself. You
know, Sadia, I used to ask some guys, this is many years ago, It was a tricky question. I would tell, that was like off camera, before even probably AB Talks. And I would tell guys, it was only guys. I was like, okay, I'll give you a hypothetical question. If you knew that if you cheated, 100% your partner, your wife, girlfriend would never know.
Yeah.
And hypothetically, till you die, till she dies, nobody will ever know.
Yeah.
Would you or not? Most of them said yes.
Of course, yeah.
And that was scary because, so then I remember one of my friends, I told him he's never cheated. I really respect, and he has a healthy relationship, everything. And I was really curious because I see how men are generally. He's one of the, let's say, men that are faithful are 20%. I'm a bit, hopefully not too generous, but let's say 2 out of 10. Maybe 1. Okay, let's say 2. 2 out of 10.
You want to say it's more than that?
In busy cities?
Yeah, in busy cities, it's hard.
Yeah, if it's in a slow city with no
100%.
options. Yeah,
Slow cities, very easy.
Let's say 20%. So for me, I'm always curious about the 2% or 20% because there should be given a lot of credit. There's a lot of temptations, there's a lot of options, but they choose. So I asked one of them, I'm like, why do you not cheat? Are you afraid of your wife? Or is it your religion? Or is it your life values and ethics? He said, no, I'm not scared. I do it for my ethics, my values. I said, then don't ever cheat. Because if he said fear, the moment he's not afraid of her,
that's not real.
He's gonna do it. The moment he gets musters some courage or anger, he's gonna do it. But if it's just because it's me, this is my image of myself as a self-image, I respect that.
Yeah, I think for me personally, the reason for me was just I don't get excited by male attention. By new male attention, it doesn't do anything for me. And mainly because I worked with, like, in boys' schools my whole life. I used to work in a bunch of boys' schools when I was teaching, and you learn how quickly they'll give everybody attention. Miss, you look amazing. Miss, you look amazing. Miss, you, everywhere they go, every girl looks amazing to them. When you learn how little attention actually means in the real world and how little that currency is, risking everything you have for that, it just seems like a cheap thrill to me. So I've never been so overly excited about like a new option. Something new doesn't seem so exciting. And I remember, like, one thing I noticed is the men that seem to cheat the most and when they get older is one that didn't have access to a lot of women when they were growing up. Those men seem to worship women, particularly young women, because those are the women that used to reject them the most. And I find that those men find it very difficult to resist cheating because they see attention as it might disappear, so you've got to latch onto it while they've got it. Whereas when you grow up with it and you've always had it, you almost see it as like, this is another person that's just going to hurt me as much as my annoying husband right now, so what's the point? Yeah, he's probably going to annoy me in a million different ways. What is the point? Let me just nurture what I have rather than start something. So, like, because words are so meaningless. So I think people whose love language is verbal affirmation, they are very prone to cheating because all it takes is the right words and they attach to another person. And words are cheap and easy to give to people. So I think those people tend to be the most easy prey.
If you have watched any of my videos and thought, oh my God, this sounds exactly like what I'm going through, then you need to work with me today. I will be able to undo some of these patterns that you have been noticing in your relationships and with the women that you select. I will be able to give you the exact skills and tools you need to enhance your self-esteem, to set your boundaries, and more importantly, how to create the relationship that you've been craving and that you deserve. Just click the link below to work with me today.